Welcome back to News Now on PNC, and welcome, Joanna O with weather. What's going on?
So, have you ever thought of throwing unique Christmas parties?
Unique.
Well, for some time I had this wild idea of having a Christmas party at a reef line with Nemos and turtles, possibly eels.
Really? That's cool.
But according to National Weather Service, this is a bad idea for this Christmas. While small craft advisory from last week is still in effect, high surf advisory will also be in effect from tomorrow morning till Friday. That's including this Christmas. So we really need to watch out. What this really means to us is that we ought to avoid venturing near exposed reefs or beaches because it could be life-threatening. Let's go take a look at weather. Now expect breezy weather with isolated showers for all 3 days. Now the only difference would be that we're expecting most cloudy tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow, and partly cloudy on Christmas Day. And on top of these marine advisories, we also have high wind advisory for the airport earlier today. It is no longer in effect, but winds can blow pretty hard this week. Take a look. For all 3 days, winds are expected to go all the way up to 25 miles per hour, and they're all heading towards east. Because of this, NWS advised residents not to go near east-facing reefs as higher surfs on that side can be life-threatening. Now, you may think, oh, it's windy, it could be cold. Not really, according to expected temperature. Although heat index may go down, the temperature itself will remain highs around 89 and lows near 77 for all 3 days. And that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you, Joanna. That was a very informative weather report. So are you still really planning on...
No more advisories.
I was going to say, can you get Nemo's autograph?
Yeah.
Christmas party? Not for me, for my kids. Okay, for me.
All right, thanks, Joanna. Well, American Samoa's newly elected GOP delegate to Congress says House Democrats have suddenly made it harder for her and the delegates from Guam, the CNMI, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and D.C. to get back the floor vote they had when Democrats ran the House. PNC's Washington correspondent Matt Kay reports.
Republican Omua Amata Ratawagan says she learned about Democratic Whip Steny Hoyer's letter to Rules Committee Chair Pete Sessions from the media. Hoyer urged Sessions to restore to the non-voting delegates from the islands the same limited floor vote they had in Democrat-controlled Congresses when the full House acts as a committee before final bill passage. But Amata says her efforts to handle the issue delicately may have been compromised.
I've been working very hard behind the scenes to see what we could do about the committee of the whole vote issue. But once it became politicized, it's now going to be resolved on a political level, and I don't think there's too much more that I can do at this point.
Guam's Madeline Bordallo, the CNMI's Greg Kalili Sablan, and Virgin Islands' Donna Christensen have all sought to keep the floor vote during GOP Congresses without success. Ratawagan was asked if that would have been easier this time had Hoyer not jumped the gun.
I think it probably would have been helpful if he hadn't have sent this letter out. And they were going to send me a copy. I never, ever, even as I speak, I never got a copy from Steny Hoyer.
Amata says Sessions and the GOP are still considering the issue, but she's no longer pressing the case and would support a Republican rules package in the GOP conference with or without the delegate vote included. Ratawagan says she's ceasing her efforts on a symbolic gesture when she has a large agenda of substantive issues affecting her constituents. She says a committee of the whole vote pales in comparison with her vote in the GOP conference, where the direction of the new House will be set. Ratawagan, whose November win could still help the Democratic delegates, says wherever there's common ground, she hopes to be a voice in the GOP for her fellow island delegates. On Capitol Hill, Matt Kay for PNC News.
The governor's office has announced that more tax refunds will be mailed out tomorrow. According to a release, $1.7 million in tax refunds will be sent out. This means that 700 Guamanians with Status A tax returns filed up to December 10th of 2014 will be receiving checks for their tax refunds this week. This brings the total tax refunds this administration has paid back to Guamanians to $142 million this calendar year. The governor is quoted in the release as saying, "The Calvo Tenorio administration is about establishing benchmarks of performance. Paying tax refunds are no longer promises of the past. They are standards by which this government is operating today. This is the level of professionalism and commitment we promised 4 years ago. This is how we will keep moving forward," end quote.
So do you have caramel apples in your home? If you do, public health says don't eat them. Throw them away. The Department of Public Health and Social Services tells us that a growing nationwide outbreak of the bacteria Listeria has been linked to consuming caramel apples. As of Monday, reports indicate that 29 people have been hospitalized in the states, and among those, 4 have died. Public Health Officer Catherine Del Mundo advises the community not to eat any commercially produced prepackaged caramel apples, including plain caramel apples, and those with nuts, sprinkles, chocolate, or other toppings. Del Mundo says Listeria can cause a serious, life-threatening illness. Symptoms include fever, muscle aches, nausea, or diarrhea, which can be seen a few days or even a few weeks after consuming this type of bacteria.
What the division has been doing is we've been calling retail stores and distributors and manufacturers here on island to ask them if they carry those caramel apples. A lot of them did, but they don't have it anymore. So basically, because it's a seasonal item, they have already sold it. Our advice to the public and to the stores, to the retail stores and the distributors, is if they do have it on hand or on stock, to go ahead and put it out of the shelf. They can discard it or hold on to it, whichever, but do not put it out on the shelf. And if people have bought these caramel apples, to don't consume it, just to be on the safe side.
Del Mundo says federal health officials are still trying to determine the specific brand, store, or manufacturer the contaminated caramel apples came from. For more information, contact Public Health's Division of Environmental Health at 735-7221.
The holidays are for celebrating and having a good time. That's why the Guam Police Department wants to remind the community to be safe this holiday season by having a designated driver. As part of their Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, the Guam Police Department's Highway Patrol Division will be conducting DUI checkpoints along major roadways tonight and tomorrow night. GPD spokesman Officer Paul Tapao says in addition to the stationary checkpoints, officers will also be patrolling the island to deter residents from drunk driving.
We've been seeing too many fatalities, too many crashes occurring, and pretty much all alcohol related. So again, we would like to remind the island community, just be safe and designate a driver when you're out celebrating.
Officer Tapao says police will continue to run DUI checkpoints through New Year's. Checkpoints will be conducted from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning.
Well, we continue our Kundit Christmas series tonight over in Sinahania. PNC's Betsy Brown takes you to Herman de Leon Street, where the Regis and Cruz families made a special display for their departed loved one. Dolores Cruz.
The spirit of Christmas shines in Sinahania, where the Regis family makes lighting up their home on Herman de Leon Street an annual tradition. Ed Regis leads the effort each year. He says the planning for this year's display began at Christmas time last year, and he started putting the lights up this past November.
Whenever I have time, basically, I kind of force myself to put time on because it's by section. Basically, we planned this beforehand, so I will know how many sections and basically what's the theme for this year.
The display at the Regis home begins with the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem and then tells stories of his life with images of Jerusalem and Rome.
We've never really basically came up with a Bethlehem or nativity scene, so my mother-in-law he didn't tell me literally, but he kind of just said in the side, hey, nativity scene. So we decided that, hey, this time around we have this nativity scene. So there it is, a tribute for her.
Yeah.
At the Loris Cruise. Yeah.
When his mother-in-law passed away recently, Regis said he considered giving up on the display this year, but his family encouraged him to finish it in her honor.
My in-laws, my brothers, my brother-in-laws, and my wife basically wanted to continue on, not to change anything, because they believe she would want this, and of course my father-in-law would like it to continue on.
And the family isn't wasting any time in getting ready for next Christmas. Regis says they'll all sit down together soon to plan next year's theme. Betsy Brown, PNC News.
Wow, what a beautiful display.
Yeah, it's another nice Christmas
And
story.
I like how he meticulously placed each and every piece so that it had a theme. Sometimes you see them, they're all just kind of thrown out there. This one was really...
A lot of thought was definitely put into it. Great job there.
Yes, great job.
in Sinahania. And let's check in now with Paulie Suba. Sure, he's got a great story for us in sports.
Christmas is fast approaching, so just call me Santa today because I'm Christmasing you with lots and lots of highlights from the IIAAG All-Island Wrestling Meet coming soon here on PNC Sports.